Welcome to this too. I am your host, Timothy, and thank you for joining me after a brief hiatus. It was not planned, but I do apologize for the long delay. I'm facing some technical issues as well. My laptop's not working, so I have to do everything off my phone, and it's been a couple of weeks trying to find work on top of everything else and going through a really low point in my life. But I wanted to take some time and reflect, and I wanted to record something to put that out today because it's been over a year since I attempted suicide, and I needed to perhaps reflect and look at my life and look at myself and that day and everything that has happened subsequently. So I hope that today's episode is enlightening in some way, and I hope that it helps someone who's perhaps going through a difficult phase of their life as well. Before we dive in, let me just clarify and state again that I'm not a mental health professional in any way, shape, or form. I'm purely a guy trying to navigate his diagnosis and his experiences of mental health and suicide. So I hope that what I say is enlightening, but I'm not dispensing medical advice. I'm not trying to diagnose or provide therapy. I can only speak about what I've done and what has helped me. And I hope that it inspires, and I hope that the things that I say help. But as always, I will advise, if you are feeling that you are dealing with something that you don't have the mechanisms or the tools to cope with, please reach out to a doctor, a mental health professional. There are support lines that you can call. There are free support lines available. There is support. You just have to make use of it. Do not try and carry that weight alone. That's something that I learned the hard way. So before going any further, let's dive into today's episode. A year ago, the day before Mother's Day, I was at my lowest point. And the relationship that I had given everything to, and that I had defined myself as by, was in tatters, and I was discarded. I was callously and coldly discarded and told that I have no value. That made me spiral even further when I was already having thoughts of suicide. And that pushed me over the edge. And I tried to take my own life that day. And I remember the loneliness and the sadness. I remember the pain of feeling so low, so useless, that I would not even be of any kind of purpose or service to my daughter, and that she would have been better off without me. And, as much as that was the external voice telling me that I had no value and trying to break me, trying to punish me, it was also my depression. It was also my own trauma telling me those same things and amplifying it. And once you say those things to yourself, you can't just turn it off and walk away. So I took all my meds that day. And I remember how drowsy I felt. I remember falling into this black hole. I have no recollection of how I was able to get up and walk home or even alert anyone. But something inside me decided that that was not happening, that on a subconscious level, I didn't want to die as much as I was hurting and as much as I was in pain. There was a part of me that didn't want to give in and wanted to fight. And I feel like at times that I've betrayed that part of myself because I haven't been as strong as I should have been in certain moments. I have allowed my emotions to get the better of me, the anger, the resentment, the hurt that I felt having been put through what I was, being treated the way that I have been, and being labeled being called unstable, being called all types of things, insulting things about my mental health. I responded in ways at times that validated that, because I was angry, because I felt like I needed to shout because nobody was hearing my voice. Nobody was seeing it from my perspective, which is what a lot of people who have been victims of emotional and psychological or physical abuse feel when things have settled. You, as the person who have been perpetrated against, often feel like you need that validation, and you need to get your voice heard, and you need to kind of show the world what happened to you, because no one seems to believe it. No one wants to believe it, because the person that did it is so charming and so affable and so, on the surface, attractive to the world that people don't want to believe it. But I was trying to force people to see the truth, and the more I tried to force that out, the more unstable I made myself look. So, it's been a difficult journey of self-realization and acceptance. I am far from a place where I feel like it's behind me. Now, at this time, being someone who's struggling to find work, a lot of insecurities come up, a lot of painful things come up, a lot of reminders, a sense of your lack of self-worth. But I have to remember what I've done to get here, and to keep standing and to keep taking steps forward. I have to remember the work that I've put in, like the podcast, the work that I've put in into myself. The days when I pulled myself up when there was no one else around to help me. On the days that I wanted to kill myself, and there've been a few, I chose to see light. I chose to believe that tomorrow is going to be better. It's not always the case, but it's a better alternative than giving up and losing time with my daughter, who I love so much and who is so incredibly strong, funny, brilliant, and she doesn't deserve to have a father give up on himself, and she doesn't deserve to have a father give up on her. And so I try, in as much as I can, to be a good example to her. It's not just about the superficial. It's not just about having a job. Of course, I want that, and I want to provide for my kid in the best way possible. But it's about being present, and about finding joy and love and laughter and levity with her. Realizing my value isn't just about what I bring in terms of finances. My value is me. And for a long time, I allowed someone else to dictate and to govern what my value was, and surrendered my value and my worth to someone else to discard at their leisure. And it's taken a while for me to get to a place where I can stand in my own space and accept that what happened. I allowed it. I am as to blame for the situation as the other person, because I chose to accept the treatment. I chose to hear those words. I allowed what they did to affect me. I, through my own insecurities and my own traumas, fed into that, because I was so afraid of being abandoned, because I had told myself that this relationship was everything. And this is what you do when you love someone. You give and you try. And I didn't have the confidence to step back and say, but I don't deserve this. I deserve to be seen, and I deserve to be appreciated by somebody who values me. My value isn't dependent on how much I give and constantly give, and how much I can accept and give up and suffer. My worth is not dictated to by how much I can bear, and I deserve better. And it's taken a long time for me to see that and accept it, and to see my own value and worth, because that's something I've struggled with for my entire life, is low self-esteem. And I do that every day to try and talk to myself and get myself into a better place. I am trying to rebuild myself, and I know that at the end of the day, the only thing that's really going to matter is how I show up for myself. Ultimately, that's all you can do. We come into this world alone, and ultimately we leave it alone. And no matter how much you hurt, no matter how much the tears sting, the world keeps turning. The world has never stopped for anyone's pain. It's spun for millennia, and it will continue to do so. And pain and suffering should never be so debilitating that you want to end your life. Had I done so last year, I would never have had the moments that I've had with my daughter. I would never have seen how much she has changed and grown in that year. I've never have had the opportunity to do the things with her that I did and have the memories that I've had. The conversations with other people, meeting new people who have impacted on my life positively. So as much as my life is far from perfect, it's far from where I wanted to be or where I needed to be. And at this moment in time, I feel really low again. It's hard to go for a while trying to find work and be rejected, especially when you know you have value that you can give. It's not easy. It's not easy being able to face your kid and not have anything to give her and have to make sacrifices or ask her to make sacrifices because of yourself. And that makes you feel really awful as a parent. It makes you feel really awful as a person because you want to give your kid the best. I just have to keep persevering and keep pushing because at this moment things feel low. But at the same time, I've been able to really do things and push myself and put myself in spaces and places that I wouldn't have been able to do or be before. But I'm grateful for that opportunity now, and I'm grateful for the chances. I'm grateful that I was able to give myself this time because it's a gift. I almost denied myself time, which is the most important thing in this life. And I've wasted some of that time this year, be honest. But I've also used that time, and I'm hoping that, I shouldn't say I'm hoping, I believe that it's going to lead to something better, that it will lead to a better tomorrow, as long as I keep putting in the work today, and I do that consistently. What I've been doing of late that has helped me a lot is I have a dedicated plan. Every day I go for a run. As I run, I say affirmations. I try and say something positive to myself and try and show appreciation for the abundance and the beauty that I still get to experience and that is still in my life. Because it's not all doom and gloom. It's not all negative. There is joy and there is love in this world and there is beauty. And you have to just sometimes be able to appreciate what it is and what it's not. And I make sure that I exercise every day. That helps from a physiological, from a biological perspective. Makes you feel better, makes you have more confidence. Running helps deal with trauma. It helps you clear your head. So it helps me, especially in the mornings, to exercise, run, do a workout. And then I sit and I spend time working a program that I designed using AI and resources. So I do a mental 30-minute check-in and a self-evaluation, and I work on, and I reflect and I meditate on the things that I feel like I need to work on, be better at, and also give myself grace and accept that not every day is going to be perfect. Not every day is going to be straightforward because I'm having to start from scratch. And there's no manual for having to start your life over. At least I haven't found one that tells you how to get over your heart being broken, decimated, being discarded, and just having your entire world torn apart. So I know that I'm not going to do it all in one day. I know that it's not all going to be easy. I realize that I've seen it, I've experienced it. And I know on the days when I have a backward step that I have to give myself the grace and the space and the peace to accept that today is a lesson and I have to learn from it and not forget. And I have to remember what's important, what's truly important to, not the empty lies and promises that someone can make, not what someone else does, not what someone else is. I have no control, I have no power over that. But what I do control is my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, how I allow things to affect me, how I allow things to impact, and how I choose to show up. And those are things that I have full control over. And I just need to continue to show up one day at a time. And if you're going through something difficult, that's all you need to do. It's just get through today, get through this hour when things feel really low, when things feel like you are drowning. Just need to allow yourself the space to get through that moment. And then you'll get through the next, and you'll get through the next. And so things will go and things will get better. But you have to allow yourself the space to do that and give yourself the grace to do it. I journal, I write my thoughts out, I have conversations with myself. I'm open to things. I meditate. I try different things because I don't know what's going to work for me. Certain skills that you learn when you do DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, helps with certain moments of anxiety and stress, but it doesn't always help. So I use what works. I try and find new solutions, and I just try and stay hungry about my growth because I know that it's going to pay off. I know that I'm investing in myself, and I know that one day all this effort is gonna mean something. It's gonna pay off in some way. And I'm not doing it for the payoff. I'm doing it because I need to do it for myself. When you are low, when you feel depressed, when depression is really gnawing at you, you tend to forget about yourself. Everything that you are stressing about, everything that you are fearing becomes your obsession. And you forget about what you have been able to do. You forget about your strengths and what you can give. And you should never forget what you are capable of doing. You should never forget what you've done. Because if you forget, and if you don't remind yourself about your strength and what you've been able to overcome, who's going to? Because I've realized in our darkest moments, it's always just going to come down to you. You can't rely on someone else. You can't rely on your therapist. You can't rely on your best friend. You can't even rely on your wife. You have to rely on yourself. That's the only thing that counts at the end of the day. It's you. What you choose to listen to, what you choose to do, the voices you allow into your head, the things you say to yourself. Those are all things that we have control over, but so many times we surrender, we give up, and we allow the negativity to flourish. All you need to do is just put a little time aside every day. Remind yourself of what you are and who you are, what you've done. Be grateful for the joy and the beauty in your life, because we tend to forget that also when you're depressed. All you see and fixate on is the negative, and that swallows you. And these things are not groundbreaking. My realizations, I'm not the first person to realize this. But until it sinks in your head, until you accept it, until you actually see and feel it for yourself, doesn't matter who's telling you these things. It can be screamed from the rafters. If you don't believe it, if you don't want it for yourself, nothing's going to change. And I see that, and I see that in myself, and I want to show my kid that I want to show my kid that I'm not the weak person that almost destroyed himself a year ago. And I've been trying to do that, and I'm sure you can tell by the strain in my voice that it's not easy right now. But this podcast is something that I believe in, and I feel like I have a responsibility, and it keeps me going. And my daughter keeps me going. And I know that I have something more to give this world, and I can't allow the setbacks to stop me from what I feel I can do. I just can't allow that to happen. I won't allow it to happen. So I have to keep trying every day. I don't feel like I have a choice except but to try. Because giving up, I've given up. I've given up before, and I saw what happened. And I felt that shame and that pain and having to face that. I'd rather try and fall. I'd rather keep trying and fall until I can't anymore, until I die. But I'm not going to give up. This life is precious. This life is, it's punishing, it's cruel, but it's also beautiful. I've seen how, through doing the work that I've done on myself, how things have changed for myself, doing the journaling, doing the self-reflection. How I have laughed. I've had moments of joy and levity and love. And you forget that. You forget when you are in the midst of a depressive episode, everything that is joyful is filtered out. And you even tell yourself that it's not a big deal or that it doesn't matter. Because I don't know how else to say it, but it's like you enjoy the sadness. You want to be stuck in it. You just want and fixate on the misery because you've told yourself that's what you deserve. But doing the things that I've done has changed my life to the point where I am so happy with my kid. She brings so much joy, and it's just the best feeling in the world to be a father. And I've forgotten that, and I forgot my responsibility to her because I was so focused on my misery that I forgot that there's something more to this life. And it's not just about me, it's about her and the example that I set for her. Because if I were to kill myself, I'm telling her that it's okay. And kids who have grown up experiencing suicide have a higher likelihood of doing it themselves. And so that's not a burden. That's not something I ever meant to put on her. It's never an avenue that I ever wanted her to experience. But I've got to show now that you can come back from things. You can come back from the worst situations. I have to show her that you can overcome anything because she is my light, and I would do anything to make sure that she never experiences a day like I've had to. I'm sorry if this is a bit of a meandering session today. It's not as succinct as it might have been. But I hope that you find some value. I hope that just listening to my voice has helped in some way. Please leave a comment. Please share, like, subscribe. I really need the support. I would really appreciate if you shared my podcast with as many people as possible to try and grow this platform so I can turn it into something meaningful. It's a lifeline for me. And I hope that it can be a lifeline for other people as well. So I will end it here. I am planning on doing another episode soon in terms of the things and dealing and going into more detail about the things that are helping me. But I just wanted to share and reflect on what a year post-suicide has been like for me. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. So just remember, whatever you are going through in life, whether it's good or bad, this too shall pass.